Welcome, dear friends. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. Our church is located here in the heart of walkable Tarpon Springs Historic District and is known as the home of the Innes paintings. My name is Charly Nelson, and I serve on our Board of Trustees. We are a church of many welcomes, and we offer a warm welcome to all of you who have joined us. This is a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. As such, ours is an active church, and everyone is invited to participate in any of our activities, whether you are a member or not. To learn more about events, our church calendar is on our website, uutarpon.org, where you can discuss activities with church members or our membership chair, who will contact you if we have your information. We are happy to have the Reverend Kristina Spaude leading the service today. Music is provided by our music director, Bonnie Whitehurst. Jean Nelson will be serving as our worship associate today.
We begin our service today with the chalice lighting words by Deborah Falk. The chalice lit among us is a beacon of hope in a world in crisis, a beacon of possibility made manifest in community, a beacon of warmth through our interconnections, a beacon of light illuminating our shared wisdom, a beacon of connection by our being together.
Our story today is called Pearl by Molly Idle. In the vast sea of blue, some mermaids watched over the waves breaking upon the endless beaches. Some kept an eye on the great coral reefs. Some tended to the towering forests of kelp rising from the ocean floor. Some guarded the giants of the deep, and Pearl deeply yearned to be one of them. "Mother, I am big enough to help now," she said. "Yes, Pearl," her mother considered. "Come with me. I have something very important for you to look after." They swam up and up and up, past the breaking waves until the sandy shore stretched all around them. "This," said her mother, "is yours." She placed a single grain of sand in Pearl's hand. "Yours to care for every day and keep safe every night." "But Mother," protested Pearl, "you said I could help with something important." "The smallest of things can make a great difference, Pearl," her mother replied. With that, Pearl was left alone. A wave of disappointment washed over her. She was surrounded by thousands of grains of sand, millions, billions beyond counting. And here she was entrusted with just one. Her heart grew heavy, and the weight of it pulled her down, 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 where the salt of her tears mingled with the sea. Pearl glowered at the grain of sand. She clenched it in her tiny fist. Then, from beneath her fingers, came a faint light. But when Pearl opened her hand, it was gone. Pearl closed her hand around the tiny grain again, gently this time. The sand resting on her palm had a luster to it that had not been there before. Every day, Pearl preserved it, polished it, and played with it. Every night, she protected it, and slowly, very slowly, it began to grow and grow and glow. And as it grew lighter, so did Pearl's heart. It seemed to buoy them up and up and up, until it rose into the vast sea of stars. Pearl beamed up at it. It beamed back. Its light touched everything. It sparkled on the breaking waters and the coral, creating new reefs. It glowed in the tides flowing through the towering forests and illuminated the giants rising from the deep. And it shone upon Pearl.
Now is the time in the service where we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. Ours is a free faith, and for it to remain so, the church is also self-sustaining financially. Please go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click the donate button. Or you may mail your offering to the church at 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida, 34689. The offering will now be given and received.
Our reading today comes from Tanya Marquez. This is Call from the Past, Present, and Future. This piece is available in both English and Spanish. I will read the English. Call from the past. From the heights of the Andes, the jungle and the desert, from the depth of the sea, from a time that was, from a time that stretches beyond our memory, we are called. Our histories stretch back to the first people, the first steps, the collision of worlds, to abrupt beginnings, all wanderers of this land. We have inherited the unfinished labor of our ancestors, of those who came before us. We are called to continue the work. Call from the present. The voices of our people call us now. The world harbors their joys and their sorrows. We hear the cries of our people demanding justice. In that call, we recognize the voices of those who wander in the desert, the border crossers, the navigators, the justice seekers, the dreamers, and the hopeful. We weave our story to the story of our ancestors right here, right now. We are in the midst of responding to the call that comes from all corners of this land, from south, from north, east, and west. We are called to sustain the work. Call from the future. The voices of those who will be call us, a reminder of who we need to be. In the weaving of our story with the web of life, we must remember that we must not cut the strings, for there are others coming after us. Others with tender hearts and strong wills, with creative determination, those who live in the house of tomorrow. Their vision escapes us. Yet we are called to prepare the road, to leave behind possibility and foundations upon which they'll build a better tomorrow. We are called to create new opportunities. Be afraid of the enormity of the possible was the sign in bright neon capital letters on the wall. I was at the Toledo Museum of Art with my best friend, who took great pleasure in having their picture taken in front of it. I kept looking at it, wondering about it, but the depth of the message was kind of lost on me at the time. But now, in this time and place where we've been in a global pandemic for a year and a half, where I have been serving this congregation for over a year, but almost always at something of a distance, where we have known and done the things that we would have called normal before, that have been twisted on their sides or heads or some other Gumby-like position that we haven't even figured out yet. Well, what was possible both seems very small and enormous. And while this is exciting, it is also daunting and exhausting. So many decisions, y'all. So much to think through. Everything requires so much thought and processing. The autopilot that we'd gotten used to of just doing things is on hiatus and will continue to shift as we move across and through this new terrain. My brain is tired, which everyone can attest at this point in time, from being asked to be involved in so many decisions, in making choices for all of the news, the multi-platform worship, meetings, changing leadership models, re-envisioning how groups work, realizing we want to try some new things, but there's no structure in place for accountability, launching new programs, engaging membership better, trying to make this church more self-sustaining, and the list goes on. It's a lot. It's a lot in the best of times. No wonder I'm tired. No wonder you're tired. Everything is new. What was possible is impossible, and what was impossible is now what we're doing. In some ways, everything is possible, and everything is a lot. I'm trying not to be worried about being crushed by it. Rest assured, this isn't just me or you. Colleagues across the country and world are sharing these struggles, as are lay leaders and lay people and congregations as a whole. Thank goodness that we have each other in these times, that we aren't entirely alone. If you were with us last year when I began working with this congregation, you may remember me talking about my grandfather's unwritten motto. It's not the speed, but the direction. Whenever I start feeling overwhelmed with the enormity of the possible, I repeat those words to myself. There's no contest, no competition. The most important thing is that we keep moving in the same direction together. To that end, I'm mindful of practicing some new strategies with you this year. I mentioned last month about focusing on stewardship this year with you, and that includes, of course, financial contributions to sustain the congregation. But it also includes general wellness and moving toward a sense of wholeness in the congregation. Lots of things change when we're on the edge of something new. This happens as ministers change, as leadership changes, as membership changes. Also, this is what happens when you're in an unending global pandemic and the world is on fire. The way church was done 50 or even 5 years ago now will not carry us into the future we dream of for ourselves. Over and over, I see groups asking for new members, but retaining the same models that have been used far beyond when they have been effective. How many times have we heard people say they're interested in something but don't want to attend meetings? How many people want to be involved in things but haven't worked out yet, have we, how to include them apart from meetings? So among the things I'd like us to be considering this year together is further changing things up. I'd like us finding ways to connect people with the things they're passionate about and that they have the bandwidth for. There's lots of work to be done, but sometimes we work harder than we need to. I'd like us thinking about those things that can actually be made into an email or a phone call and addressing them that way. Things that can be delegated to a small team to work through and propose a recommendation for how to resolve something. People taking ownership, responsibility, and always an accountable relationship. And we need to disrupt patterns of a few people doing all the things. We're off to a good start. But this isn't healthy in the short term or long term, whatever it may seem like. In the long term, it can actually cause a lot of harm, as broken systems need to be dismantled and paving laid down for a new building to take place. While this is something that may need to happen periodically in the life of a congregation, doing it all at once is a lot. And still, we are doing the work. And I don't want church to just be work for anyone. I want everyone to be able to engage in something that deepens their spirituality. For some, that may be covenant groups. For some, that may be offering faith formation programming for children and or youth or adults. For some, it may be having the time to write and reflect as part of our faith's long-standing tradition of lay worship services and participating in worship leading. Or maybe doing some fundraising activities. I'd like y'all practicing having some fun this year, and having fun with your fun, as my best friend likes to say. I'm really delighted that we'll be rolling out some new programs this fall to experiment with. And I'm not going to make assumptions about the things that bring you joy, knowing that we each bring our own gifts, passions, and curiosities to share in our congregational life together. I'll tell you, years ago, I got involved in my local time bank back home. The groundwork had been laid and it was growing slowly, organically. I was underemployed at the time, and the time bank struck me as in alignment with my values. A time bank, briefly, is an opportunity for community connection, for bringing neighbors together, for service exchange, and sometimes more. Up to and including creating peer-led youth courts, stores, and care for subgroups. For example, at home, the city paid time credits for folks who would help clean snow from driveways and sidewalks for their elderly and disabled neighbors. The director was a vibrant, magnetic person. She is passionate about what time banks can offer people and communities. She had a vision for improving our town and making the lives of the people in it richer by and through their connections with each other. Similarly to when I joined the UU Church, I thought to myself, this is a time to experiment, to learn, and to try new things. My first exchange was with a neighbor a block and a half away who needed help putting plastic in the windows as the season was quickly getting cold. I went over to be an extra set of hands and engage her small children in conversation while she was working, which were both the level of my skill sets. For years, our director, who buzzed with ideas about how to grow and build organizations, among the many things I learned from working alongside her for years, do you know what her favorite service was that she offered? Well, one of them was baking pies and teaching people how to make a perfect crust. But the other big one was cleaning out people's refrigerators. It's a manageable task to complete in basically one sitting, and she loved the sense of accomplishment and satisfaction she got when it was done. Especially as she was trying to do all these big things, those small things helped anchor her not only with her and the organization's mission and vision, it helped her connect with her neighbors, other time bankers. It was a small victory when the bigger ones would take a while. And for her, it was fun. I know some of us are excited about the running things, and some are excited about baking pies, and some of us are actually excited to be cleaning out the refrigerators. Some of us are just trying to find our way and holding up plastic for someone else to seal in place while making littles laugh. All of this and more has a place. The title for this service came from some conversation I had about what we're doing together. Right now, I hope we're making some pearls. Like Pearl in the story, I hope we are tending to the small charges we sometimes have, trusting that someday it will glow brightly. I hope that we're willing to take a risk and trust in the responsibilities we've been charged with to help this congregation and ourselves grow. What yeses might you say to help? What opportunities are we creating? What possibilities have been left for us, and what might be we leave for those who follow us? Like natural pearls, some of them may be perfectly shaped. Some may not be. That doesn't mean they're not helpful or useful or just what we need for this moment. What beauty will we create to nurture ourselves and our community? As we consider these questions, I invite you also to consider our proposed new vision statement that you'll be asked to vote on October 17th. The work of a handful plus of people with feedback and insight from even more. And I wonder, how will we get there from here? The statement is, we are widely known as a beacon of liberal faith. We connect bravely, grow spiritually, embody justice, nurture the arts, and love unconditionally.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place,
Our closing words come from Jean Harrison Newyar, who has written in The Gift of Faith. In the lore of ancient China, there's a story of a philosopher who was asked, "Where is the road called hope?" He replied, "It does not exist, but as people move forward upon it, it comes into being." I invite you to continue moving forward on this road, this path called hope, embracing possibility and making pearls with me.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hands, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Thank you for sharing today's service with us. We extinguish the chalice with words by John Brigham. Go your ways, know not the answers to all things, yet seeking always the answer to one more thing than you know.